Hi, I'm Brian, or Fat Dad from Fat Dad's Woodshop, and I hope all of you are having a blessed Memorial Day weekend. Making your own tools is very often considered something that only an expert should do, but amateurs have been making their own tools as far back as woodworking dates. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to make a wooden mallet. Fat Dad Woodshop. Now, as I said previously, making your own tools is something that goes back a really long ways. What would often happen is that an apprentice would go to work for a master woodworker, and the master woodworker, when the apprentice has time, would give the apprentice the task of making himself his own tools. And a wooden mallet is actually one of the earlier tools that the apprentice would make. And the apprentice would gain two things from this experience. One, they would gain a tool that they would be able to use for the rest of their lives. Most masters were very often using tools that they had built when they were apprentices. And the other thing that they would gain is the experience of learning the techniques in order to make the tools that they had. So it's something that has gone out of style in modern woodworking because most tools can just be purchased a lot easier and more cheaply than they ever have in any time in history. And I think that this is to the detriment of most woodworkers trying to get into woodworking today. So for this video, I'm going to show you how I'm going to make a wooden mallet. These happen to be three homemade mallets. This one is actually very special. It was owned by my grandfather. It is just, I don't know if you can see the swirls in there. This is a piece of rawhide that has been tightly wound and then pinned in the top, and then a hole was drilled and this handle was added. And this thing has been used for more years than I can imagine. And I'm positive this was handmade. This is a mallet that I made mostly just for fun. It's got a maple handle, maple face striking plates with the side grain, not the end grain exposed. And this is an oak body, and the handle has been permanently attached. This was kind of intended to be kind of a Thor's hammer looking thing. And I also put a epoxy resin on the face in order to make the striking faces stronger. This big flat face is not so good for assembly because this is so hard that it'll actually dent your project that you're working on, but it works really well for things like chisels, although this is a kind of an oversized mallet and I really just made this for fun. This is a much more functional mallet that actually my son made a few years back, and we built this on some plans that I found in a magazine somewhere. This is an oak handle with an oak body, and these are maple striking faces. The rounded one here is designed for assembly, and the idea of the rounded shape is that there's no sharp corners that can dent your woodworking, and then this flat face is designed for things like chisel handles, so that when you're chiseling, you can get more power into the chisel. This also has a feature where the handle can be removed, and if it gets broken, it can be replaced, or this can be disassembled to fit into a toolbox or something like that. For easier transportation. My son chiseled this tapered hole out of the center of the head, and then the handle fits through there, and then actually using the hammer tightens the head onto the handle. So it can be taken apart and put back together at will. So this is a very good example. I'm very proud of him for having made this. And I want to make a totally new hammer that's going to have aspects of these and other things. I'm going to make a wooden mallet that has as many features as I can fit into one mallet. And somebody watching this video should watch it with the anticipation that they would make their own custom mallet, something that would actually work for what they want to do. And they may want to add or delete whatever features that they think will work for them in their own design. So I'm not going to get too bogged down into dimensions or how certain things are made. I'm just going to show you a number of the things that are possible if you are making your own mallet. Okay, I've got my pieces cut out for the new mallet now, and a word about the materials that I'm using. For the handle here, this is ash, and unfortunately there's a huge amount of ash available for all the wrong reasons, because the emerald ash borer, at least here in North America, is decimating the tree population. So there's dead trees all over the place, and right now you can get this stuff all over the place. But that won't last for too much longer. But traditional handles were very often made out of ash because it's a great wood for handles, and you can still see those used a lot. The body of the hammer, the mallet, is walnut, and that's simply because I have a lot of walnut, and it could be really any kind of hardwood. I would recommend hardwood. The hard surface here for the mallet is maple, and I want the side grain to be the striking surface, not the end grain, because end grain tends to split out, so it's a lot stronger on the side grain. And I'm actually going to reinforce this with a two-part epoxy, and then I'm going to have a soft side that's made out of pine, also with the side grain being the striking surface, and I'm going to round these edges over so that it doesn't dent the material that I'm hitting it on, and I'd be able to use this as an assembly end of the hammer. So and there's a few other things that I'm going to do with this, but I'm going to mill out this handle, and I'm going to make the handle very similar to the mallet that my son made, where it's going to be removable and it's going to be held in here with these angles and this friction. So I'll show you how that's done. Now, one of the things that I did when I selected my wood for all of this is all of this is made from 3/4 inch stock or inch board. For my metric people, that's about 20 millimeters. And so it's very easy to make something like this out of just scrap wood you've got laying around. Also, please keep in mind that there's lots and lots of different features that I'm putting into this mallet that you may want to keep, or you may not even want to use at all. But something I did do was these pieces here are angled. This is about 5 degrees. And the reason for that is when you're striking, you don't have to extend your wrist quite so far. And that's a feature that some people like on their mallets, or they don't. It really doesn't matter. A lot of these dimensions really are not important so long as the dimensions fit each other. So what I've got inside here is these two pieces will be parallel to the sides, and then I'll have this angled piece in here, and that gives you the angle of the handle. So you have to transfer this angle using a device like this to your handle that you're cutting out, and then the widest part of your handle is the top. So the rest of this will all have to be cut out with a bandsaw or something similar. So just keep that in mind when you're building your mallet. Now I've got my handle laid out on my piece of ash here, and it's important to note that the bottom of your handle has to be smaller than this bottom width here, because your handle will have to slide all the way down through the head until this opening here wedges into this, and this has to be the same angle as the inside of your mallet head. I'm going to cut this out on the bandsaw now, and I will have to cut all the way up both sides in order to preserve this width on the top, so I can't use a table saw on something like this. So now the handle is cut out, and what's going to happen is that this will slide down into here and wedge itself in, and as you're using this hammer, the head will only tighten itself as you swing on this handle. I will put a slight chamfer on here and clean this up, but what I'm going to do next is I'm going to drill holes in these two centerpieces, and they will be a recess for some lead shot that I will put in this mallet head, and that will both add weight and a little bit of a dead blow capability for this mallet. And now that I've got these recesses cut in these centerpieces, I'm going to glue this onto the side, and I'm going to fill these about 2/3 of the way or 3/4 of the way up with this number 8 lead shot here. And this is lead, so if you're handling this stuff, wash your hands afterward and keep your fingers out of your mouth. And then I'm going to be very careful not to get glue inside the holes here. And I'm going to glue this all together. And hopefully I will have some loose shot in here, which will add both weight and it will add a dead blow effect to the mallet head, which will cause the mallet to not bounce as much when it strikes something, that making it a more efficient mallet. All right, now after this dries, I will take this to the belt sander and clean up all these little edges that are sticking out and make sure that these are dead flat on the ends so that I can glue on the strike faces, the hard and the soft strike faces, and make this mallet a complete While I'm waiting for that head to dry, I put the an 1/8 inch round over bit on my router table, and I'm going to round over all the edges on this handle because it's a lot nicer to grab that way, and it'll slide in and out of the head easier. And once the glue dries, I just take that to the belt sander and clean up the edges and clean up the ends, and then I've glued the impact plates on the ends of the mallet head. And here is my mallet mostly finished. As you can see, this is the removable handle type. You just pull that out. It's got the soft pine for assembly hammer with the heavily rounded over edges so that you're less likely to cause dents in your work, and then a hard maple, which eventually I'm going to put a 2-part epoxy coating on this to make it even harder. And I will probably coat the entire thing in Danish oil, although boiled linseed oil is often used for these kinds of tools. It is the next morning, and I poured last night some 2-part epoxy onto the maple face of this, and I'll take this masking tape off here, and I'll clean these edges up with a file, and now that'll be a good hard striking surface for this mallet. Woodshop.